I'm sick of starting the show. You say something.
Well, you know what I was sick of, and it's nice to be not sick of it anymore as much. But I missed...
Can I guess?
Please, do it.
Gout. Did you have gout?
No, I did not. But I would be sick of it if I did
fresh
have
out of
it.
ideas.
I would be sick of it if I did have it. I was just tired of the current world climate, and I know it's the least on the hierarchy of things that matter as far as just daily life. New releases, as far as films, just weren't that plentiful for the most part. Not as much as, say, normal everyday life before COVID, before all these things. So I missed kind of doing new releases. Both new releases I anticipated, both new releases that I was just doing because, hey, like, it's new, it's fun, we should review it. We do a movie podcast. And it's nice to kind of get a touch of that normalcy. Obviously, we weren't in a theater, but my understanding is some people saw it in theaters. I'm assuming in the States, but regardless, I am happy that we get a new release today. And hopefully it's a sign of things to come. There's other new releases that I look forward to, that you look forward to. Looking at you, James Bond 27. But
there's this summer, I'm excited. I think as far as new releases go, I think this is going to be a fairly redemptive summer. Because looking ahead at our schedule and at like the release schedule this summer, there's like some, as far as new releases go, there's some heavy lifting for us to do this summer.
Oh yeah,
and so I'm looking forward to it. I there's some films I'm absolutely pumped about. I think our next new release is a Pixar film, and then the next new release that we're doing after that is an MCU film. So I don't know, like, if that's not basically Christmas, I don't know what is.
Those are pretty big players in the whole cinematic landscape. So yeah, it's exciting and it's nice.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Movie Men podcast.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week, boys. No, welcome. We are reviewing the new Disney film Cruella. Starring...
we are? Shoot. Okay, yeah, I'll wing it. Yeah. That's fine.
Which Disney film did you watch?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay. But yeah, this is kind of a big deal.
But for the record, then next week, can we talk about The Rocketeer?
We'll talk after.
Okay.
This is a big deal. It's got some big names. It's a big player, obviously, in the Disney landscape.
So I'd like to, sorry, before we go any further, I think it's just important to say, as is the case with all of our episodes, but particularly because this is a new release and maybe not everyone has dished out the premium access for it yet, or has had the chance to go see it in the theater, we are going to, spoiler heavy, we are going to talk about this film. We're going to do a deep dive into some spoilers. So if you haven't seen Cruella yet, and you are, you're someone who's going to have their life ruined by having this movie spoiled in advance, maybe don't listen to this episode yet. But definitely come back and listen to it once you've seen the movie. But if you're just listening to this because you're like, one of our mothers or you're married to one of us, then keep listening. Then it doesn't matter. And thank you for showing up. And that's my little disclaimer.
It's interesting. We've been in a routine. Like, it's, again, we haven't done new releases for a while. So usually it's a film. Hey, if it's from 2004, come on, like, you've had your 15 years to watch it. But yeah, this film is literally hardly a week old. So, good job with the warning.
We also haven't talked about it at all. Like, I watched this movie several days ago. What night would I have watched it? I watched it Friday. This is Tuesday. I watched it Friday. So the day it came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah? It came out on the Friday, right? Yeah, I watched it the day it came out. And you've now seen it as well.
Yes.
But we have not discussed this film with each other at all. I have no idea what you thought of it, and you have no idea what I thought of it.
I, for a moment, thought you tipped your cards when you said I watched it several, and I thought you were going to say several times, and I was going to say, wow, that's interesting.
Oh, no.
But yeah, several days ago. Okay.
Yeah. So, so it's interesting for me. Like, I literally, the listener, as far as knowing what you think of this film, I'm in the same boat as the listener, and vice versa. You're in the same boat as the listener. You have no idea. I may have loved this film. I could absolutely hate this film. And us being completely in the dark about what the other person thinks about it is something that doesn't happen. Like, we don't discuss the films a lot prior to recording, but typically I would say more often than not, we go in with a bit of a sense of like what the dynamic might be for the episode. But this is a blank slate. This is Pandora's box. Anything could happen. And it's exciting. I don't know why I don't know why that's got me so like, euphoric, but I'm excited.
Yeah. It wasn't like when we watched Joker, and even though we were in this, even though we didn't talk about specifics before we made the episode and talked about it, on our drive home, this is pre-COVID obviously, on our drive home together, we could just sense, we could just smell each other's various responses. Like, you could smell the anxiety and the stress coming off of me, and I could smell the wow, what did I just see, in a good way, coming off of you. So this, we are totally blind. We are blind as bats.
I coming out of Joker, I was well aware that the color had left your face, and that
and had gone straight to yours.
It had come straight to mine. That I was about ready to pop a blood vessel from excitement. Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. So let's do this.
Let's get into it.
So you went into this movie somewhat blind, right?
Yeah.
You you'd seen maybe a TV spot, but for the most part, you'd avoided proper official trailers and stuff.
That's right. Yeah, I did.
So what do you think?
I like you said, I went into it blind as far as not seeing trailers for this film. I had seen the original cartoon from the 60s. I'm pretty certain I had seen the Disney live action 101 Dalmatians, which are obviously tied to this movie we were reviewing today. So I knew a little bit about the premise, obviously.
Is it? How so?
What do you mean?
This is. Are you? You're saying it is tied to the live action one from the 90s?
I don't have enough memory to say if it is or not. I'm just saying it's loosely tied to Cruella, who is in the cartoon, and I know is in the live action, but I honestly don't remember much about the live action, other than there's some kid playing video games, and I don't even remember why. Right. So I think from here on out, I can
confirm that I don't think this Cruella is in no way a prequel to. It's not like when they did Oz the Great and Powerful and James Frank. It was supposed to be the same Wizard of Oz. It was. This is a complete reboot. Yeah.
Okay. See, I wasn't sure about that, and that changes my perspective a little bit, but regardless, it's the same character, but a different interpretation.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it was an interesting film, so I went into it blind, so I was able to have a blank palette or a blank slate. Just in a nutshell, I thought it was interesting. Star-studded, a lot of good stars, not just Justin Timberlake and other random actors who you don't really care about but are famous.
Justin Timberlake is an incredible actor. What is this shot that you're taking? Justin Timberlake is great.
Is he?
Yeah, oh yeah. Like his voice work in the Trolls movies, and then him showing up as Sean Parker in The Social Network. I think Justin Timberlake's a great actor.
You know, I've only seen him in The Social Network, and I have to agree it wasn't bad, but I haven't seen him in enough to say, give him a resounding endorsement. So, till then, he's the whipping boy. Till then, he's the whipping boy. Regardless, actually, star-studded actors, but good actors, ones that I'm familiar with, ones that I think are in my circle of trust, to a degree. And I had maybe some issues with the pace. I thought it started off a bit slow. And it eventually picked up, but it is a long film, and that's the first thing I'll say. And for its length, I thought they could have used the early portion of the film a little more effectively. So either just trim the fat and just get rid of parts completely, or really just pick up the pace and pick up the tone. And if you're going to use that much length, use it effectively throughout. But ultimately, yeah, I got exactly kind of what I wanted to get out of it. And I've got some good things that we'll get into as it comes up naturally. And there's some things that I think that they maybe missed on an opportunity to do more with something. But we'll get into that too as it comes up naturally. But ultimately, yeah, it's a fun film, I guess you could call it. You know, I guess I'm just so happy to see something new and something just completely different that as long as it wasn't the Joker, and it definitely wasn't the Joker, I see some similarities. We talked about that. But it's the PG version of the Joker where there's, you know, you get this character who then kind of has a moral decline and does some different dramatic things, but at least with this it's a little bit more palatable. But
sure.
What did you think?
I think this film is every bit what you had wanted the Joker to be. I think when you sat down in the theater to watch Joker, I think you were hungry for something a little more like this than maybe the bloodbath that you got. So little bit of backstory here. I'll give you a little context. I'm not a fan of the original cartoon, and when I say I'm not a fan of it, that doesn't mean I don't like it. It's that I'm not. I have no I don't know that I've ever seen it.
Oh,
I don't know that I've ever seen the animated one. Yep. On the flip side of that, I certainly did own both 101 Dalmatians, the Glenn Close, Jeff Daniels 90s live action one, as well as the sequel 102 Dalmatians, which saw the reprisal of Glenn Close, but focused around different characters. The 101 Dalmatians, the live action one, was fairly, my understanding though, is although it was set maybe in the 90s, which also had Hugh Laurie in it, by the way. Oh yeah, it's a good movie. It's worth going back, I think. But my understanding is that for the most part, like, it's fairly faithful to the original. It follows Anita and Roger, and she wants to make a coat and makes it out of the puppies, or wants to make it out of the puppies, and so on and so forth, which is something I never really understood. Like, she wants to kidnap all these puppies, and sure, puppies are small, but like, even if we're using puppy skin to make a coat, I don't know, we're talking like 20 dogs max. Like, what the hell are you going to do with 101 dogs? Like, I don't know. And, actually, it didn't even occur to me until just right now how absurd the whole notion is that that the dog had a litter of 101 puppies. But anyways,
yeah. Can I stop you there? Because this might be a natural way for something to come up that I really wanted to talk about. So
sure.
I what I will agree with is the Joker definitely was like the intense version of a character study that we saw. This would be more a tame comparison or a tame adaptation where it doesn't get as dark. But there was one specific point where I may have been okay with it being the Cruella, that is, getting a lot darker, because I thought there was an opportunity, and it's going to sound weird and it's dark, but I thought there was a huge opportunity for just some connection, some tie-in, and some origin story for this Cruella to tie in with the Cruella that we saw either in the cartoon or the live action. And again, we can talk about maybe this isn't an actual prequel, but it's more like a different story in the same universe, but it's two different, it's two versions of the same character. But I thought it would have been incredibly, this is really specific, but when we have Cruella as an orphan, and there's this whole bit with the necklace, and she kind of becomes obsessed with it. And I guess it starts with Estella and then turns into Cruella, but regardless.
Yeah.
She becomes obsessed with finding this necklace. And her obsession at some points overtook her rational thought, like we saw this. And I thought that it would have been interesting that if we see this desire in the cartoon and in the live action for her to capture and for her to kill all these Dalmatians to quote unquote make a coat, I thought, wow, what an interesting way if instead it wasn't true, like if that was just what she was saying, but if it was truly, if she had never found the necklace that the dog ate, and she had this perpetual search for the necklace she lost, and it was more of a psychosis, like a psychological thing, where she would have just always been searching for that that next dog, that maybe that's the dog that ate the necklace, and she never found the dog.
Even though rationally she knows it isn't.
Even though rationally, like a logical human being, you could sit down and be like, listen, that dog, like of all the hundreds of dogs, it's probably not even one of these dogs. But there was just some psychological underpinning to why she was doing what she was doing in the cartoons and live action. And it just struck out to me that when I saw this happening as it unfolded with us, I was like, ooh, I don't know if this is where it's going, but I could see this being really dark and a real interesting layer to add to this villain about why she does what she does. And it's not even the logical, because you make the point, like she doesn't need 100 dogs, like you need a couple. And this is making me uncomfortable just thinking about killing dogs for making coats. But regardless, I just thought it would have been such an interesting psychological component. And it honestly, maybe this is why I liked it. Maybe it just hit the Great Gatsby in me, but it would have been that whole beating on against boats against the current thing, reaching for the green light, that even though Gatsby's reaching for the green light, he's never actually going to repeat his past and find Daisy. It would have been the same with Cruella. She's never actually going to find that necklace, even though she's killing all these dogs, and she's never going to bring back her mother or bring back her family lineage. And that, obviously, right, the necklace has a far different purpose for what we see in this film. But I thought that would have, for me, I would have just been all over that if that had been what we saw. Sure. But
yeah, that's
continue.
Cool.
Sorry, that was a really side tangent. So continue.
No, that's good. Yeah, so anyways, I went into this excited because it looked dark and excited because it's Emma Stone, but I didn't have and excited because I really enjoy the 90s one, but I didn't have this like OG nostalgic kind of thing for 101 Dalmatians. And it just wasn't one of the more popular Disney movies in my house when I was a kid.
Yep.
I went into it. The two things I told you about this film that I had heard from people who saw an early release of it, like film pundits, prior to me watching it, prior to you watching it, the two things I'd heard, and then I communicated with you, was it's longer than people expect. which you've already echoed, and
Yep.
2 is that it's darker than people expect. So I went into this movie thinking this is going to be really dark.
Right.
And within the first 5 minutes of this film, I was still shocked at some of the things that, like, I went into this going, oh, it's going to be dark. And then I was like, oh, this is like dark. Like, this is like who turned out the lights dark. You know, everything, just things that shocked me from a Disney standpoint. Everything
Sure.
from holding up naked baby Cruella and seeing the baby's bare butt like that was, you know, it's pretty tame nudity as far as nudity goes. But that kind of surprised me a little bit. I was like, oh God, like this is Disney. And then certainly, who we spend most of the film thinking was Cruella's actual mother, but her adoptive mother, seeing her just pushed off the cliff by the dog, fall to her death.
That was pretty intense.
It was very intense, and to have Estella sitting there watching it and all of this stuff, really caught me off guard. So, you know, it was long. I didn't have the same issue that you had, I think, with the pacing. I thought there was a lot of character development that happened. I really liked seeing. Here's the thing: you had to like with a person like Cruella or the Joker, or the Maleficent movie, or any of these things, any origin stories. The thing about an origin story is it's not about the destination. We know what's going to happen. We know who they're going to become. So in an origin story, it's simply about how we reach the destination. It's about the journey. It's about taking someone who you're supposed to hate and having enough character development to create empathy with this character so that you start to root for the villain. You start to want the villain to win. And I think that takes time. And I think you had to really kind of spend the time with Jasper and Horace and see her childhood connection with them, and all of the fun that they've gotten into together, so that you really felt something when they started to notice a change in her that they weren't happy with. Like, you had to go, well, yeah, because it's in contrast with X. And so, yeah, I enjoyed the length. I thought it was a good, appropriate length. I thought that it's funny at times, like genuinely funny. Emma Thompson is, a lot of people don't realize this, but Emma Thompson is first and foremost a comedic actress. And so she's funny in like everything she does. I too thought that they were going to use Emma Thompson's Three Dalmatians as a plot device for a potential future for Cruella. Right. I didn't necessarily think it would have to do. But that was earlier on. It was before the big reveal about the Duchess being Cruella's actual mother. I thought it was just going to be. I didn't think it was going to be related to the necklace. I thought for most of the film, I was like, a Dalmatian killed her mother.
Right, and that would be reason enough.
Maybe that's just a scar that never heals.
Which, like, I think you're right. Like, if that happened, it would have been like, hey, we get it. No explanation needed.
Yeah, and I agree, but I also do think, like, I'm a fan of I'm a fan of people taking creative liberties when they're reimagining the story. However, I think there's certain things that you need to stay true to in order for them to still be that property. For instance, you wouldn't do a Wizard of Oz movie tomorrow and be like, well, we're going to reimagine things a little bit. We're not going to have her follow a yellow brick road. You would just be like, that's you
Right.
just you don't change that. And so I think one of the most fundamental things to the 101 Dalmatians story is that she is a fashion designer who is obsessed with furs and simply must have what nobody else has. So I think that, unfortunately, as interesting as those would be as plot pieces, I think if you tried to move the story forward and you changed or made a significant change to Cruella's motivation for the 101 Dalmatian story, I think the fans would crucify you. Like, I think it's just too big of a deviance from what everyone knows and loves. On the whole, though, I loved this movie. I thought it was good. I think it's a more PG-13 version of Joker, essentially. I did not see the twist coming that the Duchess is Cruella's mom. I didn't see it at all. Like, even when so they reveal the birth certificate, and the guy, I don't know his name, but he's the guy that plays Merlin in Kingsman. But the butler guy.
So Mark Strong, who, of note,
Yes.
this is literally my first note that I made on my piece of paper. He was also in Sherlock, like the 2009 Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. And in those 11, 12 years, he has not aged a day.
No, not at all. I think it's the hair. The hair, that's,
I guess, but his face doesn't even look different.
He was also in Shazam. He plays a villain in Shazam.
Oh, really? I could see it.
So, yeah. But yeah, he's like, he reveals the thing, and he's like, the Duchess has a daughter, and I was like, oh snap. And even in that moment, I wasn't like caught up. I was like, oh snap, the Duchess has a daughter. That's an interesting twist. And then he's like, the daughter is you, and I'm like, holy crap. Like, I was right up until the end, right up as long as I could be in the dark and oblivious to the twist. I was in the dark and oblivious to the twist, which is such a great feeling. It allowed the twist to have its full impact.
Yep.
Yeah. One other thing is something I want to ask you about.
Please.
So speaking of Anita and Roger, so Anita obviously is in this as a an old schoolmate of Cruella, or like a childhood friend. And she's basically like a news columnist. Like she writes like gossip pieces and stuff. And Roger is in this as the Duchess's lawyer. Who likes to. He'd be a pretty damn good lawyer if it wasn't for the fact that he spends all of his time playing piano in bars, which is that's what he actually wants to do is write music, right? So they're both in it, and in true post MCU Hollywood fashion, we get a pretty baller post credit scene.
I would agree.
Yeah. A post-credit scene that excites me, I think, because I'm like, yes, okay, like I'm ready for this. So we see Anita and Roger, who are living separately. I don't even know if they know that the other one exists.
Nor should they, according to the lore.
Right,
or
Pongo's got to set them up. Pongo's got to That's his job.
Yeah.
But we see. So I guess Cruella's dogs had like something happened those 3 Dalmatians got a little frisky with each other. That's where I assume.
I guess so.
That's got to be where these puppies came from.
Yeah.
But Roger is gifted, I guess, just for like, thanks for helping out or something. Thanks for everything I have no idea. But gifts Roger Pongo. Goes ahead and names them for them,
that's
too.
A little,
like, hey,
that's a little bold.
It's Cruella, though.
Yeah.
Hey, meet Roger, meet Pongo. And Anita, meet Perdita? It was always fuzzy. It was a stranger name for the female dog. But I'm pretty sure, Pongo was wearing a red collar and Perdita was wearing a blue one. And it was just like, oh yeah, like, and it could just be like an ambiguous, like, Easter egg. It could just be a wink at the audience, but I kind of hope it isn't. I hope it's like, a sign of what's to come. Because I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to like, I'm ready to see this Cruella as the villain. I'm ready to hate her. I've loved her. Now I'm ready to hate her. So, what were your thoughts on the post-credit scene?
Oh, I'm right there with you, man. I loved it. I like I said, I was brought up with the cartoon, so the whole film being set in I guess it was more of the 70s than the 60s.
This time it was the 70s instead of the 60s, but it still had that older, proper feel to it.
It had the older, proper feel compared to, say, the 90s. So I loved it, and the post-credit scene, I mean, I loved it. It was great having those peripheral characters in Anita and Roger really kind of putting a bow on them and giving them some connective tissue to the story we had seen and the actual story that we know that takes place after this film. So I absolutely loved it. And on the note of peripheral characters, I really loved Horace and Jasper. I thought they did. Oh, yeah. I thought they did a great. I'm glad that they really gave those characters some breath of life compared to the cartoon renditions of them that are just kind of a couple of blokes. And I mean, arguably one of them still is just for comedic relief, but I thought it was fun, just both the characters that they gave richness to, and I loved seeing the relationship dynamics and how those changed as Estella became Cruella, and she, starts mistreating them, and I thought there was a lot of depth there. Did you, when the credits rolled, like literally after the post-credit scenes rolled, I turned to the person I was watching this with, and I want to know if you wanted this too. I thought the dynamic was good for the whole portion of the film with Horace and Jasper and Cruella, but I didn't quite understand Horace and Jasper sticking with Cruella, like up to the credit scene, like walking into her mansion, just because they hated who she became and they were tired of being treated poorly, and they even like made a point of saying this. They said, listen, we don't like what you've become, like you're literally driving along the road and we're saying we don't want to get into a car with you, and yet they still decide to align with her and help her out at the end and then just stick with her. And I thought that was a little weird how we see this trio before she's Cruella, and then we see them become more uncomfortable, and they kind of come to a point where they say we can't go any further, and then they just kind of keep going. And I thought that didn't really make sense from their perspective. Did that bother you at all?
So, like,
catch your attention?
Why do they go on to become henchmen? Is kind of
like why are they even involved? Like, why wouldn't they just walk away? Because they quite clearly, from a character perspective, want nothing to do with Cruella. They are uncomfortable with everything about her, how they treat her, what she's doing. And I just thought it was weird how they literally like put a line in the sand. They're like, we're not doing anything with you. And then they just kind of shrug and say, never mind, I guess we are.
Which, I mean, I don't know. I think confused me a little bit, because it's not like they're like, oh, we don't like criminal activity. No, they're criminals.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in a weird way, it's consistent with who they're supposed to be. I mean, they don't like her in the original, right? In 101 True. Dalmatians, it's not like they've got a lot of love for her.
Right.
She treats them like dirt.
They're employees or like henchmen, and that's it. They're
just
nothing
criminals.
more.
I don't know. Maybe she's like. Here's the thing. If you take two, and here we go. If you take two street rats, like Horace and Jasper, I think if she offers them $500,000 a year to do her bidding each,
they're doing it.
I think your morals disappear pretty quick. I think you quickly lose whatever spine you were starting to grow, and you kind of just, you just, I don't know, you're a criminal, right? It's the life of crime.
I agree with you.
They do what they do because they like money and they like to not work for it.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I think that's logical. I just think it's a far departure from the beginning where we see this trio so tight-knit, where they're like propelling Estella to further her career and not just be a thief. Like that says so much about where their relationship was at, that I didn't really want it to progress to the point where we saw it in the cartoon or the original live action. And I thought maybe we could have just progressed to say, hey, we're reimagining this trio. They don't necessarily have to be this kind of really uneven balance of this jerk who mistreats these two guys. But maybe that's what they're supposed to be ultimately. I don't know.
Well, and I mean, maybe if we do get another movie going forward, maybe we will see more depth to them than what we're used to. Like, they help her out at the end, but I'm wondering, like, I don't know, like, they talked a big game about leaving.
Right.
But there's a lot. It's not like they just met each other a couple of weeks ago. There's a lot of history there.
Sure.
There's a bond. And so I wonder if, like, if Pete, all of a sudden, if you got really into cocaine, I might say in a scared, desperate, trying to get you to stop manner, I might say, Pete, I'm no longer, I can't be your friend anymore. I can't talk to you if you're going to do this to yourself.
Sure.
And when you responded with, yeah, okay, and continued to, to ride the white powder train, I would probably, much to my dismay, I wouldn't just, like, there's caring there that's, so I wonder if, like, so I would come back. I wouldn't be like, I would talk to you because I'd be like, well, okay, well, shoot, that didn't work. And so I wonder if that's kind of what it is, right? Like, I wonder if they still love her and they still have,
that's true.
They still have love for her.
Yep.
And want her redemptive story. And, tried to walk away, realize they can't. But maybe if they are around her and with her or something, they'll be able to get the old Cruella back or something. I don't know. And I mean,
I think I really appreciate what you're saying, because that's the only bitter taste that was left in my mouth with this trio on the screen. But I think that I can live with. I can be sold on that. That makes sense to me.
I also don't think she's above, like, it may start out that way, and then I also don't think that Cruella is particularly above extortion or, like, blackmail or, like, them ending up in a position where, for whatever reason, they can't leave.
Yeah. Fair.
So, but who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see.
What else did you think, sir?
I have two things that I want to talk about that I thought. And I thought about them when I was watching this film, and they're more actor specific. And I asked myself, how there are two questions, but the same question for different people. How does this rank in Emma Stone's body of work, and how does this rank in Emma Thompson's body of work? For me, there were a lot of big names in this, but for me, those were the two that I was really honed in on. Specifically, I like we've talked about Emma Stone. She almost made my list of top actors, and Emma Thompson is just great. So for obvious reasons, they both just captured my attention. And I wondered this throughout. Like, I really paid attention to how they were portraying these characters. And I honestly just wanted to ask this question to you. I can give you my answer as well, but I want to break that down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're asking me.
I'm asking you.
I think, so I'll start with Emma Stone. I think it should rank relatively high. I think this is character acting. I think it's much of the time, especially when she's got the black and white hair, I think you can almost, and because she's doing the accent, so you don't have that very iconic Emma Stone voice. I think you can almost lose yourself in the fact that she's Cruella and not Emma Stone. So I think Emma Stone's performance in this is incredible. I think it's really, really good. Emma Thompson, I don't think it's as high up on her body of work as this film is for Emma Stone, but I don't necessarily think, I don't know if that's a comment on her performance in this movie, or if it's more a comment on just the impressiveness of the rest of of her body of work.
Right. Yeah.
And that she's got this fuller career of things like Saving Mr. Banks and and so it's hard to say. I would still put it above, like on a scale of 1 to 10. I would put, if all of her, if she'd only ever done 10 things, I would say that this would be like a 7. It's still up there. Whereas this is like a 9 on Emma Stone's. It's like a 7 on Emma Thompson's.
Okay. Cool. I would actually go a little bit in the reverse. So with Emma Stone, I would say it was good. It was respectable. I would echo all the things you said. I would just say there's more roles that I was more impressed with that I've seen her in, like La La Land. Obviously, that ranks high with me. Crazy Stupid Love. There's a lot of films. So I think it was a good acting role for her, and I think she did a great job. But I would say it's not her best, and that's not a knock on this performance. It's just there's a lot of other performances I like more. With Emma Thompson, and again, it's a slippery slope because I don't want to be shooting down any of her other works, and I'm not. But I think this might be near the top, if not the top, for Emma Thompson for me. And I just thought she did such an incredible job playing such a sickening human being. And you could argue that it's one-dimensional, or that there wasn't too much to do because it was just written how sickening she was just by the character. But Emma Thompson portrayed it so well. I was never annoyed, or I never found the character corny, or I never found it too much, or I just found it believable, and I found myself despising who this person was because it was brought to life so well with Emma Thompson. So I think it's such a unique role compared to a lot of other roles she's played, compared to a lot of other roles in Hollywood in general, that I thought this might be near the top of her list, if not the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think long and the short of it is I think both were great. I think I just thought Emma Thompson's was a little bit more difficult to carry off without us getting annoyed, or without us just getting sick of getting, okay, we get it, she's bad, she's an asshole, let's just move on. And I never had that. So, yeah.
Fair.
Both were good, but Emma
Fair.
Thompson, I think, was just a little bit better.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. My only other thing, what did you think about the concept, or what do you think of the concept, and what did you think about it in this case, when a movie's soundtrack is almost entirely like pop culture songs from the time era?
I thought it was amazing. I thought, like, every time... It was... Okay, so two things. One, because they're older songs, I was, like, every time a song played and I knew the song, I was like, oh, yeah, like, this is cool. I wasn't expecting this, and I wasn't. And every time a song played, there was, like, a brief second where I was like, does this match the tone? But then I constantly realized yes, because it is chaotic, and even though the songs seemed somewhat out of place, that is the tone. Out of place and chaotic and different and unpredictable and eccentric, and so I think there was so much storytelling and so much tone setting that was done with the music that they chose. I loved it. I ate the music up.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you have to be careful when you do this as a film, because I feel like if you can rely on it a little bit too much, and if you make some poor decisions or some not ideal decisions, it can be either a little bit tacky or a little over the top, or just it eventually becomes hollow just because you get an oversaturation. You just kind of get used to it. But this film did it very effectively, and I have to agree that it was done well, and it really did give a bolt of energy to certain scenes and to the flow of the film. So I'd agree.
Awesome. Do you have anything else written down?
I think that's about it. The only other thing I wanted to mention that I thought it was interesting, that obviously Emma Stone did not smoke cigarettes in this film, and I guess this had been a decision Disney had made when in 2007 they banned characters being shown smoking in their films.
Yeah. Yeah, because she should have not just the cigarette, but it's like a cigarette holder thing, right?
Is it like
sort of iconic.
Is it called a filter? I'm not sure, but it's like that stick thing. That
Rose used one in Titanic.
That's right.
Yeah. And
which was,
I don't know.
Which was before 2007, so it was like when Disney made Titanic, it still fit within their policy.
Yeah. What? It's tough. I didn't notice it until you just said it. And it's fair that, like, I don't know. I think the fact that I didn't notice until you just said it means that it doesn't really matter that it wasn't there.
Sure.
But now that you've pointed it out, it's bothering me. Like, I don't know. Yeah, because I'm thinking to myself, oh, like, there's so much of, like, so much of when I see Roger, when she shows up to check on the pregnancy of the dogs, like, so much of the interaction that I want her to have with Roger is Roger, like, brushing the smoke from her cigarette out of his face with this disgusted look on his face. And I mean, it's very clear, like, if you didn't know about Disney's ban, you could think, oh, well, maybe she just hasn't picked up the habit yet or something. But she's not going to, unless for some bizarre reason they go back on it.
Which I doubt.
Oh, I doubt. There's no reason to. I don't know why you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like a main, if you were making a list of like things about Cruella de Vil, if I was like, put down 10 bullet points and give me the character of Cruella de Vil, you would put black and white hair, crazy, wears fur, drives that baller car, has henchmen, smokes cigarettes, chain smokes, essentially.
She tastes like cigarettes.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. It's. I get why it's not there, and I think it's okay. It does feel a little bit like it's lacking that now that I'm aware of it. Thanks for that. But
I was okay with it.
But overall, yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
So
cool.
0 to 10, sir.
All right. As you know, I use 2 different rating scales to review movies. One is my own scale, and the number equates to how much effort do I want to put into the viewing of a film. The other scale is what we refer to as Marshall's scale. That's just a traditional, hey, where does it land on 0 to 10? So on my scale, it was a 6.9, so it wasn't quite I would pay money to see it in theaters. It falls into the I would buy it category. So I think in this circumstance, in this COVID streaming of new videos world, it probably makes sense where it landed, because I don't need to see this in theaters. But
for $35 on the internet.
Yeah, but for paying the additional fee on Disney Plus sounds about right. So, I think that lands. I put as much effort into it as I think it deserves, and I think I'm saying that in a positive way. Sure. On Marshall's scale, just as a traditional person's, hey, where does it go on a 0 to 10? It's pretty similar. It's a 7. I could be maybe convinced to an 8, so I'm somewhere between a 7 or an 8. But regardless, a solid film. Like we talked about, it's a double-edged sword. I kind of wish the tone had picked up in that first half. I wish they had moved past the character development to get into, let's have this moral demise of the person. But like you alluded to, it's a double-edged sword. If you move too quick, the audience isn't going to care. Like, you need to have some attachment. So I get it, but a pretty good film.
Yeah.
I'm curious where this lands on your scale.
I give it a 8.5.
Interesting. And out of context, like back the first time, I know you've seen it a couple times. What did you give Joker?
It must have been at least a 9 or a 9.5, maybe a 10.
Okay, so a little bit lower than Joker, a little bit.
Yeah, I must have given it I think I would have given it a 10 because there was no quarrels that I had with Joker.
Mm-hmm. Just that it ended.
Yeah. 8.5. It's great. I think it's really good. I will likely in the next. I'll wait until it's no longer Premier Access. But as soon as it's like on Disney Plus, just for my regular subscription price, I will definitely probably give it a second viewing.
That's fair. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Speaking of Marshall and Marshall's scale, Marshall has a question for us.
Hey fellas, it's Marshall. This week, I watched a 1928 film by Charlie Chaplin called The Circus. He directed it, produced it, wrote it, starred in it, and even composed the soundtrack. I thought that was pretty impressive. What did you guys watch this week?
I've seen the Robert Downey Jr. Chaplin movie.
Ooh, have you?
I have, and it's good. I recommend it. Highly recommend it.
It's been on my radar.
And the only Chaplin, like when I think of Chaplin, I think of two things. There's that, they're both like silent shorts. Sure. And they're the one where the house is like blowing around or something. He's in a house that's like,
okay,
and then the other is this like iconic image of Charlie Chaplin where he's in some sort of industrial factory and he's like in the gear, like he's like, there's these massive gears and he's like caught in the gears going through the gears like a gummy worm or something. I'll send it. I'll send. If that's not ringing a bell, I will.
Yeah.
I'll track down a link on YouTube and I'll send it to you. But I don't think my Chaplin repertoire is not what it should be.
I would agree. I am not well versed, and I feel like he was a pioneer and an expert in his craft, but I am not very well versed. The only thing that comes to mind, I think there's some short film called The Great Dictator, and I've seen snippets of it, and it's also been featured in some pop culture music in the last, say, 15 or 20 years. So that would be probably the most I'm familiar with, but I'm not well versed in Charlie Chaplin.
Right. Okay. So what the hell did you watch?
I've got a few things to report this week.
Wow.
The first thing, which might not be that popular in this circle, which by that I mean you and I watched a 2007 film called Premonition. It starred Sandra Bullock. It was one of those films that we were just trying to figure out something to watch, and it fell into that category of like a thriller mystery. And I just wanted something to keep me guessing, to keep me interested, to keep me motivated to keep watching. And you know what? It's not Oscar bait. It's not a movie that I would put on my DVD shelf. But for what it was, it kept me interested. There was a couple plot points that I thought were a little weak, and we talked about afterwards that, yeah, you know, there's some things that it falls through. But for what it was an entertaining 90 minutes or however long it was. And for that, I thought it was an interesting watch. The next thing I watched is going to be something I'll be talking about for a while. My wife and I decided to rewatch Lost. I have a
question. I'm going to interrupt you.
No.
I have a question.
Please.
Why can you refer to your wife when it comes to talking about watching Lost?
Okay.
But then you say sentences like, I turned to the person I watched it with when talking about Cruella. Like, I was like, I felt like calling you out on that and just being like unless you were sitting next to like Donald Trump or something and you didn't want me to think less of you.
That's interesting. I don't know why I say that. I really don't.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the show, Pete's wife.
Welcome to the show. Yeah, I've seen it. I watched Lost when it came out. Gosh, it finished 11 years ago. But coincidentally, a lot of people on my timeline have been doing rewatches. Both people I know personally, both people I just interact with on social media, and both people that like I follow on social media, but like I don't know them, if that makes sense. So it's not just been like one, it's been like 2 or 3 different sources have been doing a rewatch and then talking about their experiences and how things have aged and not aged well. So I was curious enough to say, hey, let's do a rewatch, and that's something we've tackled. So we've started our rewatch, and we'll be continuing. There's 6 seasons, so for the next while, every time we talk about what we watched, that will be on the radar. The last thing I watched was also a premium access piece of content that we buckled down and signed up for a free trial just to access. We watched the much celebrated or much anticipated, I don't even know what you'd call it, the Friends reunion episode.
Oh, yeah.
What is that tone for?
Oh, there's a big smile on my face. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, it wasn't like a... Oh. Okay.
And I'm like looking around searching for the tissue box again and like...
Oh! Okay, I think I misunderstood your oh yeah.
Oh, I wept.
Oh.
I wept.
Yeah. Okay. I really misunderstood you. I thought your oh yeah was maybe a little bit opposite of what you're feeling. So I'm intrigued.
Oh no, it was not meant to be judgmental or critical.
No. But yeah, I watched it, and I have not watched Friends all the way through. So maybe that's something I'll have to do some point in my life. I've seen enough that I'm familiar, I'm versed in the show, And even though I wasn't a lifer or I've watched this all the way through, I really enjoyed the special. I really got a kick out of it. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was interesting getting some tidbits. I got a little sentimental seeing all the actors back together again. I thought it was great. It was, however long it was a time well spent. Very happy to have watched it. And for the next like day or two afterwards, whenever I had like a spare 30 minutes, I was like, gee, I feel like watching Friends.
Yeah.
So those are the things I watched this week.
All right.
What did you? I'm assuming I know one thing you watched.
I watched the Friends reunion, which was an hour and 45 minutes long.
Attaboy.
I've seen every episode of Friends. Maybe 7 times.
7 times.
Oh my gosh! Like it's just so. It's everything. It's Friends is, and they capture really well when they're talking. They're doing like interviews with just random viewers from different countries around the world. They capture it perfectly. They capture what it is about Friends.
Yep.
And so it was an hour and 45 minutes long, and I was the next morning I was texting Emily Mader, who's a frequent on our show, and also I would say equally as big a Friends fan as I am.
Oh wow!
And she asked me, she said, what'd you think of it? And I said 2 things. I said, one, that the bomb dropped about David Schwimmer and Jennifer Aniston actually having some on-set steaminess. That was a bomb drop. That was for sure.
Juicy.
The other was I said, and I don't mean this in a why am I gapping on words? I don't mean this in a oh my goodness. I don't mean this sarcastically. That's not the word I'm looking for. But I don't mean this in a frivolous, just saying this kind of way.
Sure.
I said to her, you know what? It could have been 6 hours longer than it was, and I still would have been engaged. I still would have been there eating up every second of it. It was amazing. Yeah,
it was good.
I definitely cried.
That's cool. Just full stop. I did not know that. I knew this about Emily. For some reason it had come up, and I had an awareness of her enjoyment of Friends. For some reason I did not know anything about your enjoyment of Friends, and that's why my oh yeah was like, that's why I just misread your oh yeah, and I thought you were going to say oh I'm not into it or some such. So that's really I'm in agreement. It was really good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't talk about it a lot, but I think it's because, like I'll talk about how I'll talk about how much I love Batman. Batman's maybe not for everyone.
Sure.
But like I guess I don't talk about my love for Friends much because it's like I assume you also feel the same way, and if you don't, you're wrong. Like I just don't, like there's just something wrong with you. Like I don't know how to be in the same room as you.
On that topic, I think I'm in agreement, and I'm not even a Friends lifer. I remember back in the day when How I Met Your Mother came out, or was running rather, and there was this whole kind of big brother, big sister, like who's really the better show. And there was a point I was like, yeah, maybe they've got equal playing fields. They each have their own merits. And at the time, I could have been susceptible to such an argument. Now I look back at the two shows, both just how they've aged and even both just how they kind of progressed about how they concluded and all that jazz. And they are just different ballparks, different planes, different everything. There is a 1 and a definitive 2. And Friends is so far ahead, it's not even funny.
Oh yeah, it's really good. I gave into the temptation, and I'm about a third of the way through the first season since watching the reunion.
Wow! Oh, Come again.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you going?
And it's so good. Just like these moments of like, so my favorite character is and has always been Chandler.
Interesting.
And
which he looked a little rough. He looked a little rough in the
I mean,
reunion.
There's a whole history about Matthew Perry, and for a couple of seasons during the show, he was addicted to Vicodin, and then he and then he was an alcoholic. He was in and out of rehab like 4 times during the filming of Friends. And now he actually has opened and runs his own rehab center, and like all of this. He's gone on record and said there's like 2 or 3 seasons of the show that he has no memory of. He doesn't remember.
Oh, wow.
He can't recall that time. So anyways, but yeah, he's just so good, right? Like there's this moment. So Chandler, this is the first episode of Friends, but Chandler is he's the one that's got like the boring desk job, the cubicle office, work your way up the corporate ladder kind of job. And and he's like, well, kids, I better go get to work. If I don't put those numbers, doesn't make much of a difference. And it's just like, it's so good. The show's so good. Anyways, so I watched that. And then because I am forever the self-proclaimed completist, I watched, following last week, I watched Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, the First Avenger.
Oh, boy.
And then the Avengers. So I have capped phase 1 of the MCU. And next stop, Iron Man 3.
So to clarify, you're watching Friends all the way through? Like...
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So you got a lot of fires poking, like a lot of things on the go here. You got Friends, MCU rewatch. You've got, I mean, this is less frequent, but it's still on the go. Your Batman series that we're doing together.
Yeah.
My goodness. See, that's a lot of things to keep straight.
And on top of that, I'm releasing an hour's worth of YouTube content every weekday.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, and working a 40-hour, like a full-time job.
Look at you go, man. Look at you go. That's awesome.
And watching 24.
Now, I don't mean this in a crude way. That's still going on because how many seasons are there of 24?
Yeah, so there's so that's, I mean, I'll probably be wrapping up the 3rd season tonight. 24 took a backseat to Star Wars, and then kind of took a backseat to the beginning of the MCU.
Gotcha.
So tonight is like the awaited return to 24. But there's to answer your question, there's 8.5 seasons and a movie.
Oh, for some reason, yeah, that's a lot of seasons. Okay. Cool.
So, yeah. Wrap it up.
Well, I'll wrap it up with our usual business, and I'll announce the contest winners for our draw.
Which we'll also announce on Facebook, just in case you like entered the contest but haven't gotten around to see Cruella.
And, right.
You know.
Yeah. I'll do the housekeeping. Please follow, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know where to do it. Please rate and review us positively wherever you're listening to us if you haven't done so already. Check out our Patreon page and our merchandise page. It's ways for us to give you perks, and it's ways for you to help us maintain and grow the show. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And until next time. And here are our contest winners that I'll announce in order of that they were drawn. So it's not really any specific order. But
these are the orders that we like you in the most.
It is not.
Coincidentally.
So these people won $10 iTunes gift cards, but when we get in contact with each of them individually, if you're listening, iTunes isn't your thing, I'll work something out with you. But the first winner is Marshall. The second winner is Andrew. And the third winner is Daphne.
All right.
Are our 3 winners.
Yeah, we've left last names out because it's, if that's not you, it's none of your business. But we will get in touch with you. Our people will call you. Don't show up at Pete's door in 5 minutes and be like, oh, where's my gift card? No, we will.
It'll be like Turbo Man in Jingle All the Way, where like Arnold Schwarzenegger will show up at my house and I'll say, listen, I don't actually have the gift card. It's a gift receipt for a gift card, and it'll come in 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'll have a ponytail, and I'll be in front of like a cassette shelf.
Right, and then you'll have a sudden overwhelming urge to punch Pete in the nose. And when that happens, nobody wins.
Nobody wins.
Nobody wins.